Talk Mississippi coming at you live from Founder Square at the Neshoba County Fair. It is that time of year again, it seems. That's where we are. Representative Scott Bounds, he represents District 44, which incorporates Leake and Neshoba counties. He serves as the chair of the Public Utilities Committee. That's still current, isn't it, Scott?
Yeah, still current.
I thought so. Representative Scott Bounds here with us. On the SuperTalk set, the Element Well Studios have been temporarily relocated to the Neshoba County Fair for a couple of days. Representative Bounds, good to have you on the show, sir.
Yes, sir. Look, tell the audience hello. Come up here and enjoy the fair. I also, just throw this out, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I also serve as president of the fair. So,
oh, yeah, that's right. I was aware of that. Yep.
Pulling double duty this week, pulling double duty, wearing a political hat and wearing a public community service.
Yeah, and that takes a little time.
Well, it does. It takes a little time, but, it's all good, all good. Really having a good fair so far, Gerard.
It seems like it.
We're really having a good fair. We got today, of course, Thursday and Friday, and attendance has been good. I think that, we didn't have the fair in 20 because of COVID, and, you look back on that, Gerard, and just – all that we didn't know 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And I remember the board meeting down here. We had our last board meeting. The board meeting that we decided we were not going to be able to have the fair in 20 because of COVID we had right there at the pavilion. And I look back on that and the things that were discussed that night and how that now probably wouldn't even play into a conversation about COVID.
There's so much we didn't know, and I think in retrospect, I feel like it's accurate to say we overreacted. Would you agree with that?
I would.
Yeah,
I would.
I think we've learned a lot. Of course, we got a lot more data now because we were able to collect results and information from situations where very strict rules were imposed and situations where none were imposed, and not a whole lot of difference in outcomes.
Yeah, and out here, I mean, for your audience who's never been here, this is a very open venue. I mean, there's no way we could enact. I mean, just tell you, there's no way we could enact safe COVID protocols.
Yeah,
out here. There's just no way. And while we certainly are not downplaying the significance of it and the lives that were lost to COVID or complications for COVID, it's certainly a serious thing. But we have learned a lot about it in 2 years.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it is good to see everybody assembled in person. This is a unique event, Representative Bounds, in the country.
It is.
It's a unique event in the country, and certainly if you're a political junkie, this is a place to be.
Absolutely.
And if you're a politician looking to run for certainly statewide office.
Absolutely.
Right? Because there's some restrictions on who can speak, right? You have to touch Neshoba County, is that true? You have to represent it some way.
You have to – your district, I'm going to call, or your office has to geographically encompass or border Neshoba County.
Okay.
That's how we – and look, there's great – elected officials across the state that we'd love to have here. But, Gerard, we could, if we invited everybody that wants to speak here, we would have 5 days of afternoon and mornings of nothing but speaking.
You mean politicians want to get up there and speak?
Yeah, they do. So, and it's not that we were trying to be restrictive or anything like that. It's just that we have to put limitations on it.
It makes sense.
We have to
it absolutely makes sense. Of course, this is not a year in which we have a statewide election. We do have congressional elections. We got 4 districts, and so I believe that the candidates for District 3, which includes Neshoba County, are able to speak.
They are.
I think Shawaski Young running for the seat as a Democrat, speaking later today, and coming on the show later on today as well.
Yeah. In fact, he just spoke.
Okay.
I was not able to hear him, but yes, he's coming on and. But with all of that, I'm very involved with who we invite per our policies and scheduling and everything else.
It needs some control there. You got to have a little bit of common sense injected into that. Yeah. But next year, of course, the election years. Where next year the Mississippians will go to the polls and elect their representatives, their senators, their statewide elected officials. that's always a big deal. But it's starting to get that way, get that feel right now. This kind of launches the campaign season to a great extent.
Yeah, and let me go ahead and just put my commercial out. I did my speech a few minutes ago, or talk down, and this is a hard talk to do because I'm front and center with my constituents.
Yeah.
And we got 10 minutes, and I deviated away a little bit from a typical fair speech and didn't give a legislative update. I gave a pro-America speech, gave a pro-Mississippi speech. But at the end, I announced that I'm running for my House seat, or this House seat again. Not my House seat, this House seat again.
Sure.
House District 44, so I intend to run for that again next year.
Yeah.
And we may next year we will have 3 full days of political speaking, Gerard.
Right.
Morning and afternoon.
Yeah.
It's just because of the candidates speaking and all that.
And the legacy, of course, Representative Bounds, of political speaking here at the Neshoba County Fair, it's legendary.
It is.
And I think it's safe to say that the path to certainly statewide elected office, either on the state side or the federal side, it runs through the Neshoba County Fair, does it not?
I think so. I mean, I called it, and in my message to the patrons out here this year, I said that, I think we hold the title to the most revered political stump in
No doubt about it.
I mean, I know you have Jacinto up.
It was cool as well. Been there. Really neat.
Different event.
It's right.
And but there's, for as long, the fair is 133 years old this year. 133 years old. And for well over 100 years, candidates, elected officials, people seeking office have spoke here.
No doubt about it. To someone not from Mississippi, it's pretty hard to explain this, isn't it? It's pretty hard to describe it. You can't do it. You got to witness it in person.
You got to witness it. And I know people say, I've been out there and it was hot and dusty, it was wet and muddy. Yeah, and I understand that and all that. But you need to come experience it one time, and I guarantee you'll see the hospitality that these 601 cabins can offer. And,
no doubt. 601.
601 cabins.
Wow.
And they're all obviously individually owned, family owned. And, it's interesting out here. The fair owns the property your cabin sits on. You don't own the property or anything. So it's always challenging people to get ready to buy a fair cabin, and they go to a banker somewhere and say, well, we're going to have a deed to the property. And they say, we can't get the deed.
You know, deed, right.
You can't get a deed.
You're buying wooden building materials formed into a house, essentially.
That's right.
So, wow, I had no idea. 601. 601,
wow. And this year, I think we have 587 camper spots, RV spots.
And the daytime environment is of course, all the tents and all the walking around, the political speaking, and the big pavilion here on Founder Square. But I actually came up last year and stayed a few days after, or at the end of the week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, played golf, danced around, and stayed at the resort, and came to the fair on Friday night. It's a different environment. It's a lot of young folks, and it is packed. It was shoulder to shoulder. I mean,
the day and night life is different.
It's totally different.
It's totally different, and we've got Sawyer Brown coming in tonight. We got Scotty McCreery, who has the #1 song in the country now, Damn Straight, going to be here tomorrow night. And then Michael Ray will be here on Friday night. So we are anticipating 3 big nights left of entertainment, and that brings a lot of people out. As
we wind down here in the segment, Representative Bounds, give us a sense of what you talked about. You said you talked a lot about America and the state, and America first, the state first, and just in general. Sounds like it was kind of a patriotic theme.
It was. I just my patriotism runs deep as it does yours and everybody out here.
Yeah.
And I wanted to deviate a little bit from just the typical, politician speech out here and talk about a legislative update. I've got 10 other people going to talk about that, And so I sit down and a couple of weeks ago and began to write this thing. It wasn't a canned speech. It was a thing I wrote, but it was one of those that came from the heart, and it was something that I felt like that I wanted the Neshoba County Fair patrons to hear.
Sure.
And how I see America and how we came to it, and the challenges and the perils that we, as a country, are experiencing now. But I will tell you, Gerard, as you know, we will overcome and we will persevere. And,
agree.
America is still the greatest just the greatest hope for freedom for anybody in this world.
No doubt. And it seems like anytime things get off the rails, that they have a tendency, just through perseverance and I think just human nature in general, they tend to get back, do they not? And I think that's what we're looking at right now. And I know a lot of folks are kind of dejected and despondent, and I'm concerned as well.
Sure.
And we talk about the concerns, but overall we're going to survive this. We're going to be better on the other side. If you don't believe that, then you're not going to achieve it.
You know, one of the remarks I made in my talk real quick, Gerard, is if there was as much effort exerted into building up America as it is tearing it down now, you just think where we'd be.
Excellent point. Great point.
Think where we'd be.
I totally agree with you. Let's do it. Representative Scott Bounds has been our guest here on Middays. We'll step aside for a break. We're at the Neshoba County Fair. Coming up after the break, it's Jennifer Branning, Representative Jennifer Branning, who represents District 18 in the Mississippi House of Representatives.